Hi everyone, you're right. This is going to be a different video. I got a call before saying that someone thinks that they saw a swarm coming this way. So I thought, oh dear, might be my apiary. I've not been here for a week now, so chances are I may have missed a swarm cell. I've not been investigating the frames too much, and it has been really warm this week, so I'm a little bit concerned. Anyway, I've just come and I found this. So I don't know if you can see that, but that is a clump of bees under this hive here. So there's two things that could be. It can be fanning, or it can be a swarm. I'm going to check now. So what I want to have a look for is swarm cells, first of all. Because it could be all for naught, really. Could be that they're just fanning, keeping everything cool, because it's very warm at the moment. So it could just be them trying to keep things cool inside the colony. I've got myself a nuke anyway, so yeah, I'm going to transfer them across if it turns out to be a swarm. So first things first, let's get in, see what's going on. So when it comes to inspecting double broods, it's best to inspect the bottom one first. So I'm not going to worry about the swarm at the bottom yet. It does seem to be a big clump under there. And I might have to do some jiggery pokery to make them so they go into a nuke box of mine. But for now, let's check and see what it's looking like inside. So I did a swap of these boxes last week just to try and give them a bit more time before they wanted to swarm, ironically. So I can't see any other blobs of bees under any of the other colonies anywhere, so it seems like this is the only one. Now, looking inside here, this top box, it's got bees in it, but it doesn't look full. So to me that is interesting, because it means that chances are that there's not the actual pressure in here to swarm. Seeing that though, just lifted that up, and that is absolutely jam-packed with nectar. I don't know if you can see that. So what we're going to do is transfer the box down over here, and we'll look in the bottom box first to see if we can find any swarm cells. If we can find swarm cells, then it means that it's this one that swarmed, and then we can move on from there. That is actually a really heavy box now, so that is absolutely jam-packed with nectar. Interesting. So, okay. So hopefully my smoker won't go out. Right, so, well, what I said, we're looking for swarm cells. So swarm cells are usually on the bottom of the frame. That is a lovely frame of pollen. Amazing. So I'm just going to stick this over here, out of the way. So when I looked in this the other day, it was full of lovely brood, and this is still full of lovely brood. What we're doing is we're also keeping an eye out for the queen. Do you mind not trying to sting me? Thank you. So if we can see the queen, then it means that this is definitely not the colony who swarmed. I'm also just going to do a quick check, make sure that I've zipped this up. Yeah. Another lovely frame of... So I have a feeling it's not this one. I think they've just latched onto the bottom. Let's see. There's certainly enough space. These frames aren't filled up with bees, so something to look for is eggs. Now it looks, if the bees are on the bottom right now, it's chances are that the queen has only just decided that she wants to swarm, or rather they've only just left right now, and they're just congregating before they do their big flight. To be fair, I'm not seeing any eggs. Right, so when you're looking at your frames, these sorts of frames are ones that you want to look for swarm cells. So the way you look for swarm cells is look into these nooky bits here. Wherever the bees like to nibble is generally a good spot where they have swarm cells. And because they've swarmed, we're looking for a capped cell. I can't see any capped cells. I'm not seeing any queen cups or anything yet either, so I don't think it's this colony that's actually swarmed. Lovely frame of brood. Now I'm not seeing any eggs. So that does point to the fact that they could have swarmed. Lots of nectar in all the cells here. I'm hoping that the eggs and the queen in the top box. Let's check that out. Now, because the bees are literally interwoven into this pallet, I'm going to have to do something a bit awkward to try and get them out and try and get them into a nuke box. So what I might have to do is shift these bees onto another floor. And I'm just looking for eggs. So there are eggs here. Lots of eggs. Okay. And there's a frame here that's just got nectar in. Okay. Right, alright, so I've not seen the queen, but I've not seen any swarm cells either. So that's positive. What we're going to do is put the other box on top. And then when I come to getting rid of this swarm and putting it into a nuke, I'm going to transfer both these boxes onto a different floor. A little bit further away, over here somewhere, so I can have access to this floor and what's underneath. And what I'm going to try and do is put something underneath the pallet, if I can, to catch the bees. I don't really have a right lot, so it's going to be interesting figuring something out, but I'll try my best anyway. Right, so the next box. Yeah, so this box is very heavy, so I think what I might have to do is give them a super anyway, just to store the nectar. Which is mad, really, because it's what, second week in April. Crazy. So fanning. So if this isn't a swarm, it could just be bees on the bottom where the mesh floor is and fanning it to keep it cool. Yeah, this is full of nectar. Full of nectar. Trying to keep it cool and trying to turn the nectar into honey, which means that it opens up more space for them in the comb, because the water will get dried off and it'll get shrunk down into honey. This is impressive. Really impressive. Right. Still can't see any swarm cells, so I'm a little concerned about that. Again, more nectar. So this whole box at the top is full of nectar at the moment. That's crazy. So there's some eggs on this frame, right in the centre there. I haven't seen the queen. That doesn't matter too much, as long as I've not seen any swarm cells. So there was a queen cup there, but that didn't have any eggs in it or anything like that. So I don't think this is actually queenless. Again, there's eggs in this frame as well. I think the queen moved up. Okay. Queen cup at the bottom here, no eggs in it. I don't think this swarmed. I think this is another swarm that's latched onto the bottom. What I will do though is give these guys some more space. It does mean that I might have to look at the other ones as well, because if this one's filled up, because this was completely empty on, I think it was Monday. So in a week they've filled up a whole brew box in essence. Right, and they've got some empty frames here. Interesting. So what I'm going to do is, just to make things a bit better for the queen, I'm going to shift this across over here. And wherever there was brood, I'm going to put these empty frames, and then that means hopefully they'll see this empty space and go, oh, we've got loads of room. But this is interesting though, because I didn't see the queen, but I did see a lot of eggs, which generally means that the queen's still in there, unless she's only just decided to swarm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move you guys back over here, and we're going to take these boxes off this floor and move them where you guys are currently stood. And then we'll try and get the swarm. So the only floor I have available at the moment is this sweet empty one, so that's a bit annoying, but oh well. It's best to try and keep the floors the same. So when I remove this one, the bees automatically go to this one. But you can only do what you can only do. What are you doing? Found a ratchet strap which I'm not using. Move that over here. Okay, so I'm going to move these boxes across. I'm also going to give them a super as well. So, right. Put this back down there, because that is now the top box. And I'm going to move this box across. Now you can move colonies within 3 feet of each other, and the bees should relocate quite easily. What I'm going to do is, to make things a little bit easier for them, is this entrance block. I'm just going to lean it against this hive at the front here, just so it looks kind of similar to what they're dealing with. It may fall down, and if it does, then it does. Against there. Watch out, girls. Right, so I want to put this box on top, and I'm going to put a super on as well. Go get super and a queen excluder. Right, so as far as I'm concerned, put this on. Chop, girls. We got the way. Put this on, and then the bees should be okay for a little bit. Put this lid on. Even these out. Right, there we are. Put the lid on, all's well. Right, and now I have to collect this swarm. Right, so here's the swarm, and if we go underneath, you can see that it's under there as well. I think this is definitely a swarm that's latched onto this hive for some reason. Not quite sure why. It has definitely latched under. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and transport it into a nucleus box. There. So this is a Swienti nucleus box that I purchased last year. So what I'm going to do is open up the entrance, facing the same direction, and I'm going to try and pick this up gently and throw it, all the bees, into that box. Now, as you saw underneath here, there was a lot of bees, so I'm going to use the lid of this because it conveniently fits under this pallet. So if any bees fall, hopefully they'll land on this box lid for easy removal. So I'm just going to be very careful and try and get underneath this swarm. Right, so I'll move you here, you can see that swarm is now completely over that lid. So when I take this floor up, if any bees fall, they'll fall into the lid. Right, I'm going to move that there as well. Okay, what's the best place for you guys? There we go. Let's try that. Okay. Are we ready? So we're going to lift it up gently. So there we are. Absolutely jam-packed with bees. I'm going to try and get them to go into the nuke box. So it's always useful in a nuke box if you manage to put a frame of drawn comb in there. It generally helps draw the bees down into that comb. I'm going to give it a few seconds, let them smell the comb. In there is foundation, so when you're picking up a swarm, it's always good to have a full nuke box of foundation, because these bees, before they swarm, they take up lots of nectar, lots of honey in their stomachs, and they fly off to their new forever home. What that means is that any disease that they've got, they will have it in their stomach. So if you just have full comb, they'll then deposit whatever food they don't need into the comb, and it'll possibly spread disease. So by giving them foundation, the bees, swarms are supercharged at making honeycomb. Really, really good. They'll use anything they can in their stomachs to make honeycomb, so they're really supercharged to do it. So giving them foundation means that the bees are more likely to digest that bad bacteria, those diseases, digest them with the honey and the nectar, and draw out the foundation with the wax glands. Right, so I'm going to try and do this without causing too much trouble. Go like that. And because I don't trust myself, there's a piece of plastic here that also comes with these sweet anti-hives. I'm going to put that here just to see if I can catch any by accident. So look at the size of this. This is a prime swarm. As you can see, they've already started building comb on the bottom. Ah, okay, that's interesting. So I can see some queen cells under here. So it could be that these bees are part of this colony here, and they have run out of space, so they've come out of the entrance. And they have started building comb underneath because they've run out of space. And when they've done that, they realised that they needed to swarm, and now we've got some swarm cells under here. Can you see that there? Now, I can't see any capped swarm cells. So I don't think that these have actually swarmed yet, but they have started making comb like that anyway. Right, I'm going to try and smoke them down a bit. There's a lot of bees to fit in this one nuke, so smoke them down into the colony. I'll try and knock these a bit more in. All the bees in. Flip it over. That honeycomb's come off, so I'm just going to chuck it over into the bag over there. Ugh. Right, so that is the bees off the floor now. So that's all gone. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and we're going to focus on the ones that are on the pallets here. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get all the bees on the other side of the pallet, and then I'm going to try and scrape them off. So smoke, 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 smoke. Yeah, so I think that this isn't actually a swarm. I think that this is probably the bees have run out of space, so they've gone to the bottom of the floor, which doesn't happen very often, but clearly it seems to have happened here. So right, now I'm going to scrape them from underneath onto the floor, well, rather the roof of that nuke, and hopefully the queen is here somewhere. It's always good to keep your eye open in case you can see the queen. I can't see her. Now I'm a little concerned because it looks like the bees are going to the floor of this one now. So what we'll do is we'll just move this back here, tap some more of these bees out, and come back for them. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but the bees are actually making their way into the nuke. If you can see that. So, the bees there, the bees around here, they've got the bums in the air and they're fanning the Nasanov gland. So what that means is that they're alerting the other bees that we found a new home. So you'll see that bees are slowly making their way in now. So I'm going to help them on the way with a bit of smoke. Hopefully that is us done, really. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this nuke box in the same place as the floor. Then any bees that have been flying around will find this nuke box and make their way in. There's an entrance down this gap as well, so if they fall off then they can get back in, and I can see some of them fanning at that entrance as well. Right, so what I'm going to do is, because I think all the bees have pretty much fallen off the bottom of the pallet, I'm going to take this lid out and I'm just going to rest the lid at a jaunty angle here. It means any bees flying about can get in still, and it means that they've got a roof over their heads, which will encourage them more to stay in. So what I'm going to do is gently pull this out, because I think there's actually a bit of a blob of bees there. So I'm going to have to move this box completely out of the way, which is annoying, but so be it. So, just because I don't want to squish any bees, I'm just going to bring this down here at a jaunty angle. Can you see that? So it's got 4 points of ingress. And I'm just going to find a corner where there's no bees, and then slowly do little vibrations until another one's down, and then vibrations until the last one is down and there's no bees underneath that lid squished. And I'm going to move this a little bit closer, just so any bees that are a bit struggling a bit, like over there, they will know that this is their new home. You can already see that the bees are doing some orientation flights to it as well, so I think the bees have already made this their home. I won't know until later on. So I'm going to leave them now just for a little bit while I just do a quick check of the other hives, just make sure that there's no swarm cells obvious, and then we'll move on. Right, as you can see, the swarm has definitely moved from this area over here into this box. So what my job is now is to try and consolidate and get everyone inside that box and put the lid on. So what I've done is I've put the nuke box back, I've put the lid on, and I've orientated this way so the bees are finding their way in. So that swarm is now captured. Cool. Right, I'm going home. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. If you like what you saw, I want to see more, or you want to see some of my long form videos where I go through each and every single one of my hives, and I did that through all of last year and I will be doing it all this year, then please go onto my channel and have a look through my playlists. I would very much appreciate it if you hit the like button, and if you wanted to share it, amazing. Uh, I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Bye bye.